thinking about the answers to your questions. Yeah, you cheat.
I have my prompter up.
One day.
Okay, hello everyone. We are back again with my great friend Julian, my professional realtor in Los Angeles and where we live here, and with all of his experience and in the field with property management, home sales, USC grad. So we like to talk houses and just everything about houses. So today's topic, we're going to talk about kind of like a buyer's remorse that we've been kind of seeing in the industry, right? So that we had COVID and everybody scrambled to move out of the city, get in cheaper work from home kind of places, right? Like all these towns, whether it was like I had properties in Bend that I benefited from up in Oregon, and there was, Idaho, Nevada, Montana, all these, Colorado just blew up, right? But people were, in all these battles, and there was this kind of, over purchasing,
Oh, yeah.
FOMO,
Yep.
right? Just call it FOMO.
Uh,
So now, and everyone thought rates were going to go down, right?
yeah.
So you had these 3% loans, and that's another reason why, people aren't selling their houses right now.
Right.
So now rates haven't dropped that much, a little bit. And so there's a lot of people that are overbought and they're questioning their purchases.
Such a good topic because I'm just had some very recent experiences and where I'm seeing the consequences of that overbidding and having to get overly aggressive just to win a home during those times. Now I'm getting invited to property manage some of those properties. And
Mm-hmm.
that's been really interesting. And that's been a telltale sign of how aggressive some of these buyers got during that frenzy. So, basically when I get asked to now visit a home for a new client on property management, for example. So I just came from one yesterday. So I got a call through a referral, and this house is out in Whittier. And I conducted my first visit yesterday. And she said, "Oh, just want to point out a few things that, we were made aware of during the home inspection when we bought this home in 2023, right?
Yeah.
So during that crazy overbidding time.
It's like, yes, 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 yes. They're like not looking really at what.
100%.
Yeah.
And again, to their credit, they're not sophisticated developers, but I go in there and I am very critical of other people's product. And so a lot of little things amounted to many little things because I kind of pointed things out that she hadn't even noticed either in the house. And just as a broad example, a bathroom that wasn't built to code. The way that the toilets, the vanity and the shower, how squeezed they are put together, not enough clearance to walk around. And then she said, "Oh, by the way," and she kind of played it off as just something really casual, but I think it's actually a much bigger deal. She said, "Yeah, so the house wasn't built with any rain gutters or downspouts. So when it storms, yeah, so all the water gets underneath the house."
That's such an LA. Like, seriously, like, oh, it never rains here ever.
Yeah, so no big
Yeah.
deal. We don't
Yeah.
need
We
these
don't have
rain
to worry
gutters.
about our rain or water or roof leaks, right?
Right. And so like
I think you said you were just dealing with a roof leak today, right?
I was, yeah.
It's been raining
Yeah,
for
so
5 days straight,
yeah,
and everyone's like scratching their head, like, oh, this actually happens here?
that's right. And so when it's raining, like everybody's, stays at home, but I'm out. I was
Right.
driving like crazy from job site to job site, just making sure there was no water intrusion in
Yeah.
some of our
Which is
active
always
projects.
fun to drive in LA when it's pouring rain. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
So
it's just like an oil slick and nobody knows. They're just like, it's like them driving in the snow at Big Bear,
yep.
They're just like, what are chains? So,
Whereas I'm like, yeah, I'll grab my raincoat. It's time to go out and fix all the problems,
yeah,
go to my
well,
property management sites.
just,
It's a real thing in LA, and because again, we take for granted we have so much sunshine. And so I think contractors cut corners when it comes to water intrusion and rain damage. So you come and find out during these times. And so it was a good thing that I visited just yesterday after this major rain event as well, because she was telling me there's no rain gutters on this house. The residual consequence of that is there are significant cracks in her ceiling. Because what's happening is the water is getting underneath the house because it just pools
mm-hmm.
around the perimeter of the house, and it's causing her soil to settle. The settlement is an issue where, when you build a house and then the soil moves underneath you at different paces, your structure starts to become
And again,
unbalanced.
like a home buyer that isn't into real estate, maybe it's their first home. maybe they just don't pay attention, but it's like, this is real stuff. I mean, I grew up in Oregon. It rains every day, like literally, like
So
other
have
states,
rain
maybe
gutters.
2 months off.
Right.
But like I was used to growing up in the rain, and I've seen like the damage that water damage is crazy. Like I had a water filter in an apartment with my friend that was from a previous owner, and it leaked, and it flooded the entire apartment in like 10 hours. Like from literally when we went to sleep until we woke up, there was probably about almost a foot of water leaking down into the
Yikes.
downstairs
Yeah.
apartment.
Holy crap.
I mean, that's different than gutters, but you have to it's all the same. Water damage is extremely critical.
It is, and costly.
Yeah.
The longer you let it
Yeah.
continue to
Well,
lapse,
and then you get mold,
you
right?
get
And
mold.
then you're really screwed.
That's another issue,
Yeah.
right? So the roof leaks, yeah, exactly. One thing, but then if you do have a major roof leak, you got to open it up, air it out so that the mold doesn't get
Got to
there.
put fans all around the house, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Especially if it's consistent rain like this and it stays cold for 72 hours, like that's how the breeding ground for mold, and you let it get worse. But something as small as rain gutters, right? Couple $1,000 fix that could have been done is now resulting in what could be tens of thousands of dollars of worth of damage, because she was very casual about it, but I didn't really hold back. And every room has a major crack in the ceiling, and it's not a small, like, oh, the drywall was installed incorrectly on the ceiling. It is, no, the foundation is unlevel now.
Right.
And it's to the point where her doors, they don't close properly because the frames are moving. They're warping.
They soak the moisture out.
Correct.
So that's like a critical thing that comes up that you're dealing with right now.
Yeah.
Because this is like our weather,
Right.
and people are like not prepared for these things.
And back to your first question,
Yeah.
which is, so I was curious at when she bought it, right? So 2023, things were still kind of crazy and hectic. You had, 30 bids per home. And I started to quickly realize it was very much that situation. They wanted a home, and they were willing to do whatever it takes, because I kept asking, I was,
Well,
did you get,
I
yeah,
mean, moving around, changing, getting free money. They were the rates. I mean, it's really like the rates. I mean, I know I have friends that bought their loans down to like 2.25%,
mm-hmm, yeah,
and they're not leaving their house right now.
no. And I would say good for them.
Yeah,
Maybe
no,
if they
it's
bought
great.
a shittier home but got a 2.25,
Yeah,
okay, you know what? Yeah, that's
it's a
fine. You can
trade-off.
live with that, and
Yeah.
you can fix the home,
Right.
and at least you've got that rate for 30 years.
Yeah, I mean, that's literally like 2/3 of your interest gone.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
like a 5,000 mortgage
You're
is
talking
like
about
2 grand.
thousands. Yeah,
Like
it's a world
in
of a
today's
difference.
world, a
Yeah,
5 grand mortgage is like, I've done the calculators. I mean, it's nuts.
yeah.
Yeah.
Locking that in as your housing
Yeah.
expense for 30 years,
Yeah.
you should be happy
Yeah.
with that.
Because you're
And
just paying principal.
right.
And
And
that's the whole thing.
and
You're buying
that
the house down.
exactly. And that's
Yeah.
what I should check, is what interest rate she got in 2023.
Right.
2023 was okay. It wasn't that great.
Yeah.
I think the
There
interest rates
was
were
a
starting to
hit right
climb.
there. Yeah. 'Cause I know I did lock in a 2.9 up in Bend. I think it was like late 2020. And then I was right at this point, I think it was 2023, where everything just started going up.
Got
I don't have my
ramping up.
stats here. Sorry.
Yeah. But something easily we can
But
go
it went really
validate
quick. I mean,
fast.
it went from the 3s to the 6s really fast.
Well, and that's why when you
Yeah.
talk about that FOMO effect, people
Mhm.
were scrambling because they were watching it climb, and they were
Mhm.
like, "Oh gosh!" As it kept climbing, they're like,
Yeah,
let's just
they're
get
like,
it
"They're
now,
gonna come
get it
down."
now." And
Or we'll just write it out for a year and then they'll come down.
yeah, and so people were just desperate to get a home, so they would buy something like this.
Sure.
And so I kept asking her, just like, "Oh, well, you got a credit for this, I'm sure, right? You got a credit for this." I just kept asking for everything that she was showing me. I was like, "Well, at least you got credit for it." And she kind of just like looked at me, just like, I don't think, again, they weren't in a position to negotiate at that time when you're trying to beat 29 other people for every home.
Right.
And so you just take these things at face value for all of these, impairments isn't the right word, but
Right.
yeah, it's just
You're
clear.
taking a hit because you know that you're getting a good deal for these certain circumstances.
Correct.
But you also have to, and that's a great topic to bring up here, is that you have to think, okay, am I buying this forever? Right? Or is this a flip? Am I living out of my means financially? And if things change, am I capable of taking the hit?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I remember the first house I ever bought here in Redondo Beach. It's a tiny little box for, it was like 400 grand, which I thought was crazy. And
Still is crazy, but crazy
yeah,
low.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I mean, it was a fixer. It was like it was a 2-1, but it was, it was on a decent little lot.
Hmm.
It was a fun first project. And I remember my realtor at the time, because I didn't know any realtors, and I was just like, okay, he's the realtor. And he said, don't buy anything that you can't live in for at least 5 years. That was like his quote to
It's
me.
good
Like,
advice.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, because if you really think about it, if you look at the 2010, period where everything tanked, right? The big robo sign sell off world, it took about 5 years. And then after that 5 years, it went back to normal,
Yeah.
And so now we're kind of facing this other crisis of the FOMO COVID effect and interest rates not dropping.
Yeah.
And that's affecting things a lot. Because I
And
think my first interest rate was around, I think it was like 6%. I mean, 6% is not unnormal.
it's not.
But
But
people
when
got
prices
baked
were
in. Yeah.
lower, yeah. Well, now prices are at an all-time
Right.
high. 6%'s a lot now
Right.
with where home prices have
Right.
gotten. But you also, so that I like that lesson that you mentioned because your realtor, I would say, gave you really good advice at the time.
Mhm.
Because now my friend learned his lesson because, again, when I was doing this as a side hustle, helping friends buy homes, I did this transaction for a golf set. I didn't even take commission. So I was my USC friend found a home. It was an off market to their
Yeah.
credit. So it was his wife's friend was selling. They were moving to Atlanta.
I hope they were expensive golf clubs.
They weren't brand new, but they were. They were high end, I would say. But he got me a full set, and so the lesson here was, he's big time finance guy. Him and I, we love to talk finance. We were kind of very numbers driven guys in the program. He was arguably my best friend in the program, and we found this house, had a great deal. And he decided to do an adjustable rate mortgage. And
The ARM thing was like out of control.
it was.
Yeah.
And so he got an interest rate with a 199, right? And so that he fell for that. But his
Went to 20.
mentality, yeah. So
He's a-
so it was 5-year fixed at 199.
Yeah.
And this was in 2020. And so it was a hell of a deal. We got a good deal on the home, right? Because it was off market. It was friend selling to a friend. We got some credits because there was like some things we found during home inspection. And his mentality, which this is where he learned his lesson, he told me, Julian, I'd never do this again. He was like, I will never be in a home for more than 5 years. So the complete opposite of what
Yeah.
your realtor told you, right?
Yeah.
And so he's like, yeah, no matter what, I'm not going to be in this home for more than 5 years because I'm going to sell it and flip it into something better. And he went into it with that mentality. Well, we're coming on to, actually, yeah, we're into year 5 now.
Well, that's kind of the counter to that whole point is like, if you're going to be in a fixed mortgage, you should know how to ride out, right?
Correct.
But if you are in a 5-year ARM, you should have an exit strategy
Yeah.
in case shit goes sideways, right?
Right. Well, and the problem was he had kids,
Mhm.
during these 5 years.
Yeah.
And
Forgot
of
about
course,
that, right?
yeah, exactly. And it was like,
$20 billion
wait a minute.
of
Of
kids,
course,
right?
I'm going to be more in here for more than 5 years. I'm having kids. And he had 2 of them. Life happens. And he was like, I can't believe I had that mentality. Like, I would not be here for more than 5 years. I love
That's
this.
a
one.
bachelor's mentality.
It
right?
was. Yeah. Well, that's the thing.
family.
Exactly. Yeah. And he
I
was.
understand that. 'Cause
Yeah.
I had to add a lot more square footage, than I'm used to having on my projects, because it's, I'm there,
Correct.
and it's very different than when it's just your house and it can be some small little thing. And
Yeah.
but
So
you start adding square footage, and that's where everything just,
right. And so
I need 4 bedrooms now instead of 2,
yeah.
you're
And
doubling your house.
he had bought such a good home that was so family oriented and had enough bedrooms to accommodate 2 kids. And the garage was actually already semi converted to another livable
Okay.
space in a sense. And so that was like an additional
Right,
like family
right.
playroom.
And
And so it was great. Man cave. Exactly. Yeah, that's right. With a sizable yard. And so he's just like, man, it's such a shame because we'd done it was such a good buy.
Yeah.
And it could have been such a good rate. He still would have been in the 2s at that time. And so, but he saw that one and got attracted to that and was like, oh, I could never be here for more than 5 years. So again, just going back to the lesson learned on that,
Yeah.
your realtor was spot on. You need
Yeah.
to be thinking, can I be in here for at least 5 years? I think you need to be going
Yeah.
into these homes with that mentality because you might be stuck in a situation. Life happens, good or bad. Whether if you're having a family, good, right? It's like,
Right.
oh, great. You've already future proofed and planned for, having a home that can accommodate that. Or shit can happen, stuff happens, and you might, not want to put yourself in a desperate situation. It's like, hey, good thing at least I locked in this low interest rate
Right.
so I can ride out these bad times,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And I don't have
Yeah.
to be
Maybe I
forced to
want a
sell.
nicer house, but this will work for now.
Exactly.
At
Yeah,
least
it's
I have
because
a
I locked
house.
this in and
Yeah.
I'm good,
And I'm not getting screwed by, these crazy interest rates
That's
or
right. Yeah,
yeah. No, that's a great point. It's kind of like you said, like life is so unpredictable and you'll change, maybe you're single and in your 30s and then by 35 you're married with kids, and maybe you didn't expect that. You ran into your dream girl or your dream man or whatever, and next thing you know, you're like, "Oh my god, I need another bedroom for the baby and it's only a two-bedroom house or one-bedroom house or whatever," and
that's
it's
right.
like and so, yeah, I guess going back to the topic of how things have changed, I did see an article just a couple weeks ago about days on the market. And I know this is like for the video, like this will be time sensitive to when it's filmed, but currently in LA, the stuff is flying off the shelves, multiple bids on everything. And obviously, this is very area sensitive, in LA, because people just say LA, but the
Hmm.
difference of Manhattan Beach and Riverside
Yeah.
is two
Yeah.
just completely different worlds. Or
Right.
I guess I would say more like I don't know, something, like
Sure.
whatever. It's very dynamic. And they were saying, I was listening to a morning show that there's a local realtor here that they have on regularly and mentioned that I guess nationally the days on the market's a little over 60 right now. But then when they said LA, and again, these are averages. So this is not, I'm not saying that Manhattan Beach is going to be the same as, like I said, like Hawthorne but they were saying that LA is getting close to like 90 days on the market. So what's your experience? Are you still feeling that there's still a big demand? I mean, obviously it's a big change from the spring, right?
Yeah. This year, it's everything's being cherry picked
Yeah.
because I've been at least,
Supply,
yeah,
less demand.
I've been blessed to be able to sell a lot this year. I
Mhm.
mean, even though it's been a slow market, like you're never going to complain if you have a lot of listing
Yeah.
opportunities. And I've seen exactly if I have something very good, A plus, A location, good product, good bones, no issue
Right.
getting
Okay.
offers.
So that's a good thing to take and keep in mind, and we're actually going to get into that a little bit
Yeah,
in this next episode about what really gets buyers, you know, to fight over stuff.
correct.
So that's key. So we'll get
Yeah.
into that in the next episode.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
anything that's secondary, maybe not so good, even
Mm-hmm.
just B plus
Mm-hmm.
or less, sidelines.
So you're saying people have options now?
They do.
Yeah. You're saying
Anybody who still has money to buy a home right now, they're
Mhm.
gonna pick the best stuff
Right.
available. I'll give you an example. I have a friend who had been looking for a while, like last year. He was more in the, I'll call it $3 to $5 million range. And this year he sent me 10 homes and we looked at 10 homes. And there was, out of all 10 homes, we only liked one. And funny enough, 9 other agents for all the listings that we visited called me and said, "Hey, are you going to submit an offer? Are you going to submit an offer?" It's like,
Mhm.
"Nah, not interested." The one home we liked, 3, 4 offers. So it is everybody had the same opinion. The
Mhm.
one home out of the 10 that was good, competitive. We had 3, 4 offers. All other 9 that we did not like, no offers. And
Yeah.
so it was very just kind of an indicator of the market,
Yeah. Well,
right?
like
So
you
like,
said,
yeah,
people have options now. You'd hope that's the way it is, because when you get in a frenzy of FOMO, that's when you make mistakes.
yeah,
And that's kind of the point here that people are having these, issues. And this isn't just LA. I mean, this is obviously nationally where the FOMO took over. They, you know, whether they overpaid or locked themselves into a bad mortgage or they picked a house that just fucking sucks,
yeah, that's right.
and now they're stuck with it.
Yeah,
And you just have to be smart about that,
yeah,
and it's you got to have a checklist of a realistic budget, a time frame, including your possible future, and then you know, again, we're going to talk about this right after this episode about making sure that the house that you buy has those qualities that's going to be that cherry picked house if
Mm-hmm.
you do have to get out of it,
Correct.
so you don't just get stuck and sink with the ship.
Yes. 100%.
All right. Well, that concludes this episode, and we're gonna. The next episode will be about that topic.
Sounds good.